Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. And also make sure you all hit the likes button and hit that subscribe button if you're returning and passing through. If you're returning and you've watched my channel and you've passed through more than once, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, people. If you're returning, hit that subscribe button and also hit the likes button. Today, we're talking about a little boy out of Michigan. And this is really a sad story. And I came across this story because I look at a lot of stories just kind of passing through. And I thought this was a very, very sad story. This was a little boy that he lived with his mom and her boyfriend, and they lived in a little mobile home park, a little trailer park out of Michigan, and she lived there with her boyfriend. Now, I've done a couple of other stories about many stories about mothers living with their boyfriends, and it just bothers me every time how moms can live with their boyfriends and allow their boyfriends to abuse their children. And it's mind-boggling to me. And so this, I don't know if I should call her a mother, because to me, to allow anyone to harm your children, I wouldn't call you a mom, because as mothers, we are supposed to protect our children. And I say this quite often. So she lived with her boyfriend and allowed her boyfriend to torture her 6-year-old son. And apparently she thought it was very funny and laughed along with this guy. This little boy was put in a dog kennel and was made to stay there, and would get in trouble quite a bit if he looked out the window or if he did things that they didn't like. Eventually, he would be unalived by the boyfriend. He was made to stand up in front of the other siblings, and a GUN was pointed at him from other siblings. And he was, apparently had his hands up in the air, and the other siblings would point a GUN at him. BBGUNs and the whole nine. He would be pow-powed with the GUN and just tortured. His stepfather would go on to say that when he seen him, that his head was twice the size of, I guess it was like a watermelon. Now, my thing was, did the stepfather report this to authorities at all? Did he make the authorities aware? And even then, I hear so many stories of when this type of stuff is reported to the authorities, that sometimes the authorities just go out, the parents say, okay, the child is okay, and then they talk to the children in front of the parents. So of course the child is going to say, oh yeah, everything's fine, because they're in front of the parents. And they're not really taken out or removed from that home. And so they're made to stay there, and they're not removed. So I don't know if this was ever reported, but we're going to take a look at this case. We're going to look at the prosecutor and the authorities talking about the charges of this case. And we're also going to take a look at where they actually lived, and take a look at these two individuals that committed this crime. And we're going to take a look at little Giovanni Chulo, which was his name, this precious soul that was taken too soon, and now he's up in heaven looking down, and hopefully his siblings are in a better environment than what they were with these two individuals, and getting having a better life than what they had with these two. And I hope these two go on to, get what they get. And I don't know what they're going to be charged with, but we'll learn together as we see what's going to happen to these two. So let's see. I think I'll show you where they exactly lived. So this is the home that they actually lived in here. And this is the mobile home that they actually lived in. And this is where the little boy was often, he would just stay in this mobile home. Now, apparently they had taken him out of school. He wasn't going to school. And I often say that when kids are taken out of school, that they should be checked on. You know, even if, you know, the teachers or the staff report that the children are removed out of school, if they're, you know, if abuse is being reported by a teacher or a principal, and then all of a sudden that child is removed from the home, I think it's very important for somebody to follow up with that child. Now, here is the little boy, little Giovanni, which was just an adorable. And then here's the two individuals, and I want to call them something else, but there's the two individuals. And so this is the home. The mother's 25 and the boyfriend is 32. And they have been arrested for torturing and unaliving the 6-year-old, who was kept in a pen and stapled to the wall and repeatedly pow-powed with a BB gun, among other things that took place. Elena Rose Jennings and Daniel John Giacchina were taken into custody last week and charged with one count each of first-degree unaliving, child abuse, and lying to the police officer in the horrific slaying of young Giovanni Chulo. Jennings authorities announced. Giovanni is facing additional charges of being a felon unlawfully in possession of a gun and ammunition. According to the news releases from Oakland County District Attorney's Office, officers with Madison Heights Police Department and emergency medical personnel at about 2:34 p.m. on July 30th, they responded to the family's home in Akel's mobile home community, and they were called a 911 report that the 6-year-old boy was not breathing. The community is about 13 miles north of Detroit. Now I'm going to stop here because I know that the prosecutor is going to come on and say all of this same thing, but I just wanted to kind of give you because they don't show any pictures when they're doing the report. But this is where the little boy was found, and he was, they had him kept in a pen, and apparently when they did unalive him, he would get in trouble. Just, he was in this pen, and he would get in trouble for like simple things of just looking out of the window. It's like, come on. So I hope that, I'm going to keep that to myself until the end. Make sure you all hit that subscribe button, the likes button. And like I said, if you're passing through, what do you have to lose? It's totally free to subscribe to my channel. So do that, please. So we're going to stop sharing this one. And I'm going to share now the news conference.
Move to the other side.
Good afternoon. I would like to introduce members of my staff. To my left is Sarah Green. She's the chief of the Special Victims Unit. Assistant Prosecutor Lauren Benninger. She is also in the Special Victims Unit. Kelly Collins is our chief of juvenile. Betsy Haig is our chief of administration and oversees the juvenile division. Mark Keese is our chief of circuit. And this is, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Chief Brent Lemarice, Madison Heights Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. The victim in this case is Giovanni Jennings, known by his family as Chulo. Chulo was 6 years old, and he died from blunt force trauma to his abdomen and a perforated bowel after a lengthy period of confinement and abuse. The Wayne County Medical Examiner determined that the manner of death was homicide. Last week, my office filed charges against his mother, Elena Jennings, and her boyfriend, Daniel Giacchina, for lying to the police, and additional charges against defendant Giacchina for improperly possessing weapons and ammunition because he was already a convicted felon. But it was clear from the evidence that we saw that there was a pattern of abuse that led to Chulo's death. My office, in conjunction with the Madison Heights Police Department, has spent the last week performing an intensive review of every piece of available evidence, including cell phone evidence, photos, and evidence that was seized in search warrants. Combined, we have spent over 100 hours reviewing extremely disturbing videos and photos, as well as text messages and Facebook chats describing the horrific things that happened to this 6-year-old boy. Everyone standing up here, including myself, were a part of those 100 hours of review. His siblings were present for and witnessed much of that abuse, and a complete review of the digital evidence continues. Chulo's 4-year-old brother was interviewed at Care House. For those of you who don't know, Care House is a child advocacy center in Oakland County. My office has an experienced prosecutor dedicated to Care House and who attends forensic interviews there, and that's Lauren Benninger. I cannot express the importance of Care House and how fortunate we are in this county to have this highly qualified professional organization who interview and provide therapy for child victims. I also want to thank the Oakland County Sheriff's Department who assisted in this investigation. As we carefully sifted through the evidence, what we found can only be described as horrific. The allegations are that Chulo was confined to a pen in the defendant's bedroom. He was beaten. He was bound to the wall by using a staple gun to his clothes to the wall, which forced his face into a corner. He was badly injured, but he was not taken for medical treatment because his mother knew that a medical examination would reveal the abuse. And that information is all an allegation that was already in the public forum on the record in the swear to. Based on that additional evidence today, my office amended the charges against the defendants to include murder and child abuse in the first degree. On July 30th, 2024, at 2:34 p.m., Elena Jennings called 911 to her home and indicated that her 6-year-old son was passed out and unconscious. Chulo was rushed by ambulance to Ascension Macomb Oakland Hospital, transferred to the Detroit Medical Center, and ultimately succumbed to his injuries around midnight on July 31st. The allegations are that Jennings falsely told police that she left Chulo with his biological father when she went to work that morning, and that Chulo was uninjured prior to being with his father. Police located and arrested Chulo's father, and based on information provided by his father, subsequent investigation quickly revealed that the child's father was not anywhere near Chulo's location that day, and that defendant Jennings had provided false information to police. Based on the investigation to date, there is no evidence that Chulo's father took part in these crimes. Elena Jennings, along with Chulo and her 2 other minor children, were living at the home along with Jennings' boyfriend, defendant Daniel Giacchina, and Giacchina's grandmother. Further investigation revealed that Giacchina and Jennings conspired to falsely tell police that it was Chulo's biological father who was last with Chulo. In fact, when Jennings left the home on the morning of July 30th, Chulo was left in the care of Giacchina. Giacchina typically watched Chulo when Jennings was at work, along with Chulo's 2 younger siblings and another unrelated 5-year-old. Photos taken during an autopsy in Wayne County revealed that Chulo had bruising and laceration on his entire body, including to his scalp, temples, lips, inner mouth, cheeks, forehead, chin, shoulder, forearms, fingers, thumbs, back, buttocks, inner thighs, knees, and shins. Notably, Chulo had pervasive bruising to his abdomen, which was also bloated and distended. He had an apparent BB wound to his shin. First responders and emergency room personnel noted extensive external injuries as well. Cell phone evidence has revealed that Chulo Jennings was being severely abused by the defendants. Chulo was beaten by Giacchina on multiple occasions. While that abuse sometimes happened while Jennings was at work, Jennings was aware of it and approved of the physical assaults, and at times even encouraged Giacchina to abuse Chulo. The abuse involved physical violence and assault, including shooting at Chulo.
Okay, so as a mother, why would you go along with this kind of torture for your child and allow your boyfriend to do these things and knowingly allow him to do these things to your child? You knew about it and you went along with it, and this innocent child, you allowed this monster to do these things to your child, and you did absolutely nothing. You laughed about it and you allowed it. What kind of mother would allow these things to take place? And what happened to the other children? Were the other children going through the same thing as this precious little boy? Was it just gonna, this little boy was unalived? Was it gonna then get passed down to some of the other children? Is it that she just didn't like this little boy? And it doesn't matter if you didn't like this child. There's so many there's so many women, there's so many families, there's so many couples that can't have children, that you could give them up for adoption. You don't need to torture children. And so I don't get it that I see so many, cases, and I've done so many cases on my channel, that these parents take these innocent children and they abuse them. And I don't understand it. And was this case brought to anybody's attention? Did I believe she did say that because he was taken out of school, and she did say, as I've said on my channel, that we do need to maybe, when kids are taken out of school, keep a watchful eye. And it when we see, like a child that, makes eye contact with you in public, when they're sitting there at that table and they're looking sad and their eyes are fixed on you, maybe you could get their attention to say, go to the bathroom or something, if they're allowed to do that. Or, are you okay? If they just keep making that eye contact with you, and if the parents aren't looking, you could say, are you okay? And if they say, maybe you could try to, get their attention. I know that, in this day and age, you kind of are skeptical of saying that. But if you see like they're bruised up and they're, we all need to, I think, be aware as parents, as decent human beings, to look out for our children as well, so that this kind of stuff, don't go on. I don't think that they probably did not take this little guy out. I don't know, but I think that we all need to be aware. And I do have to, I know I rant. And some of these, I have to rant because I have to stop and I can't play the whole video for copyright purposes. But yeah, it's just, but anyway, I will finish playing it. I just get irritated. I really get irritated, but we'll go on.
With a BB gun. For punishment, Chulo was confined to a pen in a corner of Giacchina's and Jennings' bedroom, where he was left to try and sleep on a wooden slat measuring 11 inches by 36 inches. A black curtain was put in place so Chulo couldn't see out, and barricades were used to keep him in place. Giacchina purchased a home security system and mounted a camera on the wall to monitor what he and Jennings called, quote, the corner, the pen in the bedroom cordoned by the black curtain where they kept Chulo. Both Giacchina and Jennings would watch video clips of Chulo, quote, misbehaving, which would include Chulo trying to urinate, drink, or leave the corner. On one instance, on July 26, Giacchina bound Chulo to the wall to keep Chulo confined in the corner and to position his head to face the wall. He did so by stapling the clothing Chulo was wearing to the wall with a staple gun. He texted Jennings that he had solved the problem of keeping Chulo's face toward the wall, sending her a photo of Chulo stapled into the corner of the pen. That photo shows the shoulders of Chulo's shirt stapled to the edges of the corner in such a manner that Chulo's body, along with his head and face, were wedged into the corner of the wall. Both Jennings and Giacchina laughed about the photo and Giacchina's use of the staple gun to solve, quote, the problem. According to the text, Chulo was being punished in this manner for looking out the window in the pen area. A search conducted in the home in the pen area where Chulo was kept revealed marks in the walls consistent with a staple gun and holes in the wall with BBs still in them. During the search, police seized both a staple gun, a BB gun, and CO2 cartridges before the BB gun. They also seized a 9mm semi-automatic ghost gun and over 100 rounds of live 9mm ammunition. A photograph recovered from the cell phone analysis depicts Giacchina in the middle of two young children who are handling the ghost gun and the BB gun. On July 26, a photo from Jennings' phone depicts two children who are each pointing a gun at a third child. The third child has his hand up and the laser from the ghost gun is illuminating his hand. Elena Jennings' 4-year-old son was forensically interviewed at Care House. He told the forensic interviewer that, quote, Danny, Giacchina, shot him in the leg with a BB gun and showed his wound to the forensic interviewer. He also disclosed that Danny shot Chulo in the buttocks with the BB gun. The 4-year-old explained that on the day of Chulo's death, quote, Chulo died all day and Danny was there. Defendant Elena Jennings was interviewed by police and she stated that Giacchina punched Chulo in the abdomen several times, approximately 3 days prior to his death. She told police that as a result of those punches, Chulo began vomiting. His condition began to worsen until July 30th, when she found him unresponsive in the company of Giacchina. Jennings admitted that she knew Chulo desperately needed medical attention, but she did not take him to the hospital because she knew that a medical examination would reveal the abuse he was suffering. The investigation also revealed that Jennings and Giacchina were present and living in the family home the entire time that the known abuse was sustained by Chulo. After the autopsy, the Wayne County Medical Examiner issued a supplemental report indicating that Chulo Jennings died by homicide as a result of a bowel perforation with complications after blunt force trauma to his abdomen. All children have a right to grow up in a home free of fear. This child and his siblings suffered unimaginable abuse and lived in fear every day. My office and the Madison Heights Police Department are committed to using every resource available to us to get justice for Chulo and hold the people responsible for his death accountable. and to seek punishment that reflects the horror of his death. And I want to thank the Madison Heights Police Department for their commitment and conviction in carrying out a very complicated investigation. And I'd like to turn it over to the chief now.
Thank you, Karen. So, good afternoon, members of the press. For those who don't know me, my name is Brent Lemarise, and again, I'm the police chief for the city of Madison Heights. I'm not to be too redundant, but I'm going to speak a little bit on some of the things that Karen already said, but I'm going to be very short. So as you know, the Madison Heights Police Department and the Madison Heights Fire Department responded to the residence of the 6-year-old victim, Chulo Giovanni Jennings, on July 30th, 2024. This was the first time we encountered Giovanni and learned about his failing condition. The first responders took life-saving measures, but unfortunately, Giovanni eventually succumbed to his injuries. Officers moved quickly to obtain probable cause, and they made 3 arrests on the date of the incident. One individual, as Karen had stated previously, was released when it was determined he had an alibi, and he was turned over to another agency on separate violations. The other 2 individuals, as you now know, are Elena Jennings and Daniel Giacchina, and they were charged with lying to the police. And Daniel Giacchina had a pre-existing warrant for weapons-related offenses out of Madison Heights. Since their arraignment on those charges, the Madison Heights investigative team, in coordination with the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office and their investigators, have been working around the clock to uncover fresh evidence that has led to new charges introduced today by Karen McDonald. I would like to give a special thank you to all of them for their hard work. With that said, I want to remain focused on Giovanni and the tragic situation he had to endure. We will continue to work with the prosecutor's office to build this case and provide that justice for Giovanni. Thank you.
We can take a few questions, but with the understanding that we're very limited in what we can say.
Prosecutor, had anyone reported any of this abuse to CPS? And can you, as a parent, speak to the extreme nature of this abuse and how horrifying it is?
I can't comment on whether it was reported to CPS. I know that we are all mandated reporters and immediately contacted CPS because that's our job. You know, I'm a former family court judge and presiding over an abuse and neglect docket. I've been a prosecutor for years and the elected prosecutor.
Okay. So there you have it. So they were all abused. The 4-year-old pow-powed in the leg. The little Giovanni pow-powed in the bottom. So they were all pretty much, all of the children were tortured, basically, by the hands of the mom as well as this monster. And you know what? I'm not even going to call her mom. I'm not going to call her mom. These monsters, because that's what they were. These monsters. And, you know, to have children to fear, to just, you know, 24/7, because I'm sure that none of the children probably were in school. Because if they were in school, they probably would have told, you know, the teacher or the counselor or somebody. These children probably never were able to go outside the home. And when they were, you know, pow-powed, they probably didn't even go to the hospital to get that checked out. They probably just were made to suffer there at home, and these monsters took care of their wounds. So, you know, please comment on the videos. That actually helps, you know, give me feedback, and also to let me know that you guys are interested in watching the commentary that I do here. And please hit those likes buttons. Please subscribe to the channel. Let me know that, you like the what I'm doing here on this channel. And please go back and watch my cooking videos, and please try some of those recipes and let me know that you like, if you like the recipes that I do here. So I do cooking as well as you know, things like this, talking about everyday issues. Anyway, but it's just mind-boggling to me that a mother could be so evil and deranged that she would let this monster torture her children like this. I mean, what in your mind what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And to have this monster staple your child to the wall and send you a picture of it, and you're laughing and saying, you know, ha ha ha. I just don't get it. Let me show you a picture of these monsters one more time. I don't think I showed you all. Maybe I didn't, but let's see who these monsters are. Here are the two monsters here. Here are the two monsters here that, let's see if they have a big picture of them. I don't think they do. But yeah, those are the two monsters there. These two here. And she looks evil, and so does he. Very evil. And I hope that, you know, I try not to, I try not to, you know, I try not to say, you know, I mean, because in the Old Testament in the Bible, it says, you know, they used to do an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And we don't do that anymore. You know, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And that's what we should, you know, follow by. It is very hard when, you know, people torture children and do things to children. It's very hard. And I think that even then it takes, you know, I do say I have to forgive, but it's very, very hard to do that when they do things like this to innocent children that cannot defend themselves and cannot, they just can't defend themselves against these monsters. But, you know, they're going to get theirs when they go to jail, when they go to prison, they're going to get theirs. And because there's always going to be somebody that's tougher in there. And they don't like people that abuse children in these places, even though all of them are in there for a reason, but they don't like people that abuse children. So they will get theirs of what they've done to these children, and they will think long and hard about what they've done to these children and to this little innocent child that they unalived. But as I was saying earlier, we all need to watch out when we're, you know, in public, and, you know, even with, you know, teenagers with SA trafficking, we need to watch out, because if somebody's trying to reach out to us, we're so busy sometimes going on with our daily lives that we don't pay attention to what's going on around us. And, you know, people often say, oh, you know, pay attention. And we don't pay attention until it happens to us. And until it happens to us, that's when we want to make a difference. And sometimes we need to make a difference before it happens to us, so we can, you know, maybe prevent it. So when we're out in a grocery store, you know, just, you know, kind of pay attention to our surroundings. And, you know, there might be a child that you could help. You know, maybe that child, you know, always, if you see a child that's looking at you just with that deep stare, and, you know, they're just trying to get your attention, and you turn around and they're looking at you, and you smile at them, and, you know, and then you turn back around and they're fixed on you and they're looking at you. Maybe you can just kind of look at them and just say, okay. And if they say no, say, do you need help? You know, kind of communicate with them to where you make sure that you're not getting, you know, their mom's attention or their dad's attention. You know, kind of communicate with them so that you can, maybe they're crying out for help. there's also that thing that I was trying to, I think it's that symbol that they do to let you know that they need help. And then you call 911, get them to a safe place and call 911. There was a story that I seen on TikTok, and one of my friends that sent it to me, and she was, it was about this lady that was in Target or Walmart, and she's seen a 14-year-old little girl, and she's seen and her sister, and she, you know, it was, they were looking at and they were in the toilet section, and she just happened to be shopping. Well, she seen this guy that was looking, you know, just kind of staring, and he was unusual. You know, she was like, he shouldn't have been in there, you know, and he just kept staring at these little girls, and she noticed that everywhere these little girls went, there he was too. And she just happened, she was like paying attention to this. She just kind of went on look at. The mom was nowhere around. So she said she just kind of, you know, followed these little girls because she was like, you know what, something strange about this guy that keeps following these two little girls around. So I'm gonna, you know, make sure, you know, because I don't see their parents around, and they're, you know, two young girls, you know, and I want to make sure that they stay safe. So she, you know, everywhere these two little girls went, here this guy went. So she walked up to the girls and she said, you know, I don't want to sound creepy or anything, but, you know, there's this guy that's, you know, everywhere you guys go, he's following you. Are you with him? And they said, no. She says, where's your mom? She says, she went to the bathroom. And she goes, well, you know what? Do me a favor. Do you have a cell phone? And they said, yes. She goes, call your mom. Well, the mom didn't answer. So this lady said, you know what? I'm not going to leave you guys here. So you guys come with me. So she rushed him off, and this guy was following her. She rushed him off to the front of the store, and she said to the manager, I need you to call their mom, page their mom. And so the mom rushed Frank, you know, up to the store, got him. And, you know, they asked that the manager and some other people escort, you know, them out. Well, the weird thing about it is this other guy was waiting out front for this guy. So they both walked out together. And when they looked back on the video camera, this mom had walked out when she parked. This van that these two guys got into was parked next to this mom's car. So they had scoped this mom out with these two children, and they had plans to do harm. And had this lady not paid attention to these two little girls probably would have been gone and taken off somewhere. And the mom probably would have never seen her children. So it's people, you know, that made me think, you know what, I should be aware. You know, sometimes we get so busy with shopping and doing whatever we want, whatever we're doing, that we don't pay attention. And I said, you know what, I commend that lady, because she paid attention to these two little girls that weren't even hers. And she saved those children. So we could save even an abused child. We could save someone's child. So it just teaches us maybe to be more aware. And maybe we could help one child at a time, or one SA trafficking at a time. If we all work together, slow down, and we could help save a life or someone. So there you have it. So also, I want to let you all know, I am a life coach. So I do life coaching. And if you all want to head over to my website, it is michelle-shipley19.org. You can book a free 15-minute consultation. And if you're happy with my services after I explain everything and I get to know you, tell you about my services, then book an appointment with me. It's Divine Purpose Life Coaching. And we can get started with helping you get some things organized in your life. I do relationships and otherwise. So go over, check out my website. Also, I'm on TikTok. And then also go check out some of those videos, my other videos, and subscribe to the channel. What are you waiting for? You'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. So, and also I'm going to go live, people. And when I do, please join me for the live. I will put it up and let you all know when I'm going to go for the live. So make sure that you all, when I do go for that live, I want to see my subscribers here supporting me. So until next time, thank you all so much for watching. And also thank you all. Welcome our new subscribers to the channel. Thank you all for subscribing, and you're going to love it here. And also check out my recipes. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this case. And also go back and comment on some of my other videos. And hit the likes button, guys. So until next time, thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.